Next item on the agenda is approval of the January minutes. It was in your packet. Everyone had an opportunity to review them. I'll accept the motion to approve.
That's a move.
Moved by Ms. Casabon, seconded by Mr. Randolph. Please vote. Who's not voting?
There it is.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. Staff, we have some cases that need to be postponed.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, number 10 on page 3, ZC 13-02009.
Okay. Is there another one?
Yes.
Did we vote on those?
We also have ZC 13-02011, which is case number 12 on page 3.
Okay. Item number 10 is zoning case 13-02-009. Existing zoning is HC2. Proposed zoning is A4, single-family residential. It's .924 acres. It comes to us a parish council motion of 1-3. Parcel located on the south side of D.G. Holly Road, west of Watts Road, Ward 8, District 11. This needs to be postponed. I'll accept the motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Matthews, seconded by? Second. Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 12 on the agenda, zoning case 13-02-011. Existing zoning is A4, single-family residential. Proposed zoning is PF1, Public Facilities District. It's 27,890 square feet. Fire District number 12 is petitioner. Owner is One Consort International. Representative is Robert Barnett. Parcel located on the west side of Ramsey Court, north of Lake Bend Drive, Ward 3, District 3. I'll accept the motion to postpone that one.
Mr. Barnett is here.
Pardon?
Mr. Barnett is here.
Okay, Mr. Barnett, where'd he go? Okay, do you have anything to say on this? Sir. Okay.
I have a question. Why are we postponing this? It doesn't seem like it's controversial.
They're still working on it, Bill.
They're still working on some issues on it. Details with the homeowners.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Motion carries to postpone. All right. I skipped over one area and I want to go back to it. It's please be sure your cell phones or pagers are put on vibrate or off. If you have an appeal, disagree with this commission's rulings or votes and everything, there's some appeal cards over here to my right on the post, as well as speaker cards. Each case, we will take a 10-minute of each side, and then there'll be a 5-minute rebuttal. And please don't try and carry on conversations here in the building or out in the lobby area. The sound reverberates in here to us, so please exit the building. All right. Item 1 is zoning case 12-118. Existing zoning is A1 Suburban District. Proposed zoning is AT1 Animal Training Housing District. Acres is 6. Petitioner is Carolyn Landry. Owner is Carolyn Landry. Parcel located on the southeast corner of Albert Thompson Road and Louisiana Highway 40, Ward 2, District 3. Staff?
The 2025 Future Land Use Plan calls for the area to be developed with residential and agricultural uses. The property is surrounded by single-family residences, agricultural uses, and undeveloped land. Staff feels no compelling reason to recommend approval, considering that the site is also zoned rural overlay, which allows for the same uses listed under AT1. The requested zoning to AT1 could also potentially allow an increase of density in the area. Note that the applicant is seeking the zoning change to AT1 to erect a cell tower on the site. Also, please note that the applicant has provided a revised survey showing 1 acre to be changed to AT1 and the remaining 5 acres to be A1. If they wish to modify their request as such, staff would not have a problem with that, but staff does recommend denial for the 6 acres to AT1.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Landry, are you here? Okay. All
No
right,
speakers.
hold on just a minute. Will y'all check that mic? Doesn't, I'm not hearing her real well.
Thank you. Doria Durham for Ms. Landry. We've submitted a revised survey of 1 acre to satisfy staff's recommendations. So
Okay.
we are amending our request for
All right.
1 acre.
Would you please fill out a speaker card for us?
Sure.
All right. Anyone else wish to speak for this? Anyone wish to speak against it? I'm going to close the floor to the public and bring it back to the commission. I've got several. Ms. Casabon?
Yes, this is this was the only mechanism in which we could, a cell tower is needed desperately in this particular area. It's almost on the Tenchpo Parish line. This particular acreage is pretty close to it. And this was the only feasible way that it would be allowed. We needed the correct zoning for this tower. Like I said, it's a much-needed thing for that particular area. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second, but we got other folks here that want to discuss it. Mr. Matthews?
Do we have a copy of the plat? We don't see the revised plat.
Mine
It's
is-
within your,
It's in
it's in your,
It's
in
right
your
here.
packet.
The packet that was.
The
here
new
on
one?
the desk.
right here.
It's handwritten.
Okay. All right, look just like the other one. That puts it awfully close to the property line. That concerns me.
We've measured it, and it's exactly the correct distance. It appears to be incorrect, but we've had it measured, and that's the correct distance to fall.
Okay.
And Mr. Matthews, to put you at ease, this is part of an 80-acre plot owned by the same family, and only her daughter is on it, and they're not looking to sell or develop and that sort of thing. So it's 80 acres that it's within.
Okay.
Mr. Davis?
I have a question for staff. I don't see anywhere in the AT1 about the use of cell towers.
It's listed under the section 8.01, under the towers. It states that towers are permitted under the AT zoning.
And that's the only zoning that's allowed in?
No.
No, sir.
Let me, I've got the standard here. It's AN.1 towers. The towers are allowed in the following zoning districts: NC5, NC6, all PBC districts, HC districts, MD districts, PF districts, ED districts, AT districts, and riverboat gambling districts. which we
Okay,
have
so it's
31.
allowed, but again, so it overrides the 35-foot maximum height restriction. Is that?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mackey?
My question, I don't know if it should be with the petitioner, I guess you're more familiar with it, but you have someone interested, a telephone company interested in putting in the cell tower?
This is, yes,
Okay.
it's for Verizon Wireless.
All right, normally, when we do approve those cell towers, we get a radiation pattern and also verify that there are no other towers in the area, that these towers are supposed to be joint usage.
Yeah, Ms. Mackey, she will also have to fill out another form and provide the list of required documents that is listed under the UDC. So we will verify and make sure that there's no towers in the area and that is required.
Okay, good.
Well, if perchance there are towers in the other area, then we'll have a bad zoning here. Will we come back and rezone it?
No, but we've already looked at the situation, and they have evaluated the situation. There's a need for a tower in the area, so.
Okay.
I didn't get the last part of that comment.
I said we've already discussed with the lady here, and there's a need for a tower. There's no tower in the area to cover that area.
Yeah, well, still, they got, any other person coming in. Well, this one, whether it could be placed, on any nearby tower. Of course, the towers, they try to keep them pretty dense, but multi-use is the way to go.
It
all
will
right.
be a multi-use tower.
We still have the requirement that they have to allow up no less than 3 people on, or companies
I know.
on that. But there is a need, because I live there, and there isn't, I'm telling you, it drops, it's like over, I'd say a 6-mile radius. You get to this point, it drops, and it doesn't pick back up until you get to almost Goodby in this wide area and stuff. That we don't, the nearest cell tower would be on 25, which is, we put in years ago, and then there's another one on 25. Most of them are toward the 25 and not in this particular area.
How far away would you consider the closest tower?
I believe it's over 2 miles. I don't have that in front of me, but
Probably
I
about
believe it's
5 or
over
6
2
miles,
But
probably.
it's more than that,
Helen, do we have
It's probably
a
5 or
map
10,
showing where all
77.
these cell towers are?
yeah.
Yes, sir, in the office, yes.
Okay, so we know there are no cell towers close to this
Yes.
by looking at that map.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's it, that's
There
it.
was some
Thanks.
confusion about a month ago. They thought the location, well,
different-
some people thought the location was on the south end of A. Thompson Road, but it's on the north end. And there was confusion there. And yes, it is needed in that area.
You guys are a lot more familiar up that way
Yes, we
than
are.
I am,
Yes.
so.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion carries. Item 2, zoning case 04-01-003. It's a major amendment to a PUD, Plan Unit Development Overlay. It's 359.147 acres. Petitioners Kelly J. McHugh. Owners Gust Island Estates LLC. Location, parcel located on the south side of Louisiana Highway 22, west of Trepanier Road, Ward 1, District 4. Staff?
I'd like to suggest if we could hear both cases at the same time, case number 2 and number 3, ZCO 401-003 and 04-10089, considering they're both related.
Okay.
So moved.
Mr. Matthews and second by Mr. Davis to hear zoning case 04-01003 and zoning case 04-10-089 together.
But of course, vote separately.
And vote separately, and I'll read 089 so that it's in the record. Major amendment to PUD, Plan Unit Development Overlay. It's 51.18 acres. The petitioner's Kelly J. McHugh. Owners Gust Island Estates LLC. Parcel located on the south side of Louisiana Highway 22, east of Port Louis Road, Ward 1, District 4. Staff?
In your packet, I included a revised map.
Wait a minute, Helen. We gotta vote to hear them together. Please vote on hearing these together. Thank you. That's what a good secretary's for. Motion carries. Now, staff.
In your packet, I included a map showing the revisions of the proposed new Gust Island estates, which consist of a major amendment to the PUD. And I also included another map showing the parcels to be eliminated. Here, the petitioner is requesting to eliminate parcel H, parcel G, as well as several other lots that are located within parcel B. This is going to bring the lot number to the same number that was originally approved in 2004. It will also bring down the density as it was in 2004, and staff has no objection to the request for both ZC 04-01-003 as well as ZC 04-10-089. Would like to recommend approval for the major amendment to the PUD.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Shane.
Mr. Doherty, Good evening, Jeff Shane of Jones Fussell. I represent the owner of the development, who's also the petitioner. And our requests in both cases are identical and really no different than what staff has just told you. I would say that changes are twofold. We are reducing the number of lots, which of course increases or decreases the density. And of course, as a result of reducing the number of lots, we increase the green space in the PUD. These areas are in the lower areas of the development. It would have probably been problematic to develop these lots. That's the reason they're being eliminated from the development plan. Their better use is probably as green space. It also increases the amount of active green space that we have in the development, which we think is positive for the PUD as well. So unless any of you have any questions, those are the only comments I have.
Thank you, Mr. Shane. Does anyone in the audience wish to speak against this? I'll close the floor to the public, bring it back to the commission. Mr. Davis.
Yeah, will you ever be building back on this area?
No, sir. I mean, not unless we come back to you
Okay.
to amend the PUD, but by virtue of this amendment, these areas become green space and
Okay.
they're not buildable lots.
It's just that because of the whole PUD design and stuff, these are the larger lots that you're getting rid of.
Well,
So,
we're
I
also
mean-
getting rid of 11 garden home sites, though, that are
You
around
are?
the pond
Okay.
as well. So,
All right, it's just that if it ever comes back and, you know, you're trying to put the exact same lots in there, I may
Well,
question that, that's
I
all.
think no developer nor his attorney would ever say never, but we understand that if we do change our development plan, we have to come back to you and give you good reason why we should put some of that green space back
Okay.
in commerce.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any, Mr. Matthews?
Jeff, while this is highly unusual, this is generally works the other way, where we want to increase the number of lots and increase the density. This is a head scratcher, but it appears to be a no-brainer. I move to accept.
We have a motion and a second to approve zoning case 0401-003. Please vote. Motion carries. We need a motion and a second on zoning case 0410-089. We have a motion and a second to approve zoning case 04-10-089. Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 4, zoning case 96-08-046, a major amendment to a PUD plan unit development. It's 939 acres. Petitioner is A. Wayne Burris. Owner is Beatico Creek Preserve LLC. Parcel located on the west side of Louisiana 1085, south of I-12, Ward 1, District 1. Staff?
I also included a plan into your packet which shows the existing plotted units and the new units, and the new units are identified on the plan as bubbles 1, 2, 3, 4, S, and 4N. And the PUD is still proposed to be developed with, as originally approved, with a mixed development of multiple of densities, single and multifamily residential, clubhouse, and commercial area to serve the needs of the community. And if you look at the chart, it shows you the new number of units, and also it shows that the total acreage of green space is still the same. It has not been affected, and staff would like to recommend approval of the request.
Thank you. Mr. Burris?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Wayne Burris representing the petitioner. The Beatico Creek was originally given a plan unit development overlay back in 1996 when this project was being brought through the parish by the Poole family, and at some point at a point in time, probably in the mid-90s, it was sold to a developer who attempted to move forward as a golf course project, which basically failed. In about the year 2010, bringing it forward, my client, David Waltermath, and his group bought the piece of property, and since that time have gone onto the property, they have spent quite large sums of money bringing the property up to grade because it had, at some point, it had, there was some amount of neglect and maintenance and some of the things that needed to be installed out there in order to bring it up to a first-class project, which they have now done. I'd like to point out that Mr. Waltermath, in connection with the plan that we'll talk about in a second, has met with the subdivision residents on several occasions. Tonight, there's a committee of 2 that are in the office that here in the chamber that are residents in the subdivision. Chad Hombrecker and Ken Solis are here tonight in support of what we're presenting to you tonight. As Helen indicated in the staff comments, the piece of property is a total of 939 acres, and as this PUD is presented to you tonight, it remains at 939 acres. It also, the number of units originally approved are 942 units on the site, and that also stays the same. The green space, as originally approved, is 60%. This project is 60% green, which means that 564 acres of this project are under conservation servitude or under parks recreation area within the subdivision that would be restricted by the parish. Those numbers, those green space numbers, from a percentage standpoint, now vary 1% in our proposal. But what the proposal really is an attempt to conform what was originally proposed in 1996 to reality today. And reality today is that as the Corps permit was obtained, the Corps of Engineers made some slight modifications to the configuration. In other words, the parish designated areas that were originally green space and recreation area. The Corps came in and there were some slight variations to that. So as a result of that, we knew at some point we had to come back in order to make the PUD plan conform to the green space that was required by the Corps. The other issue that had to be addressed on this project is the modification of the golf course envelope. The golf course envelope is set aside as recreation area. It could not be developed. But what the land planner on this project, Kaplinger and Associates, came in, and what they tried to do was create a better plan. They've created fairways that come down through the lots in connections so that, I don't know, I've been to subdivisions in other states where the backyard opens onto a grassy fairway that's maintained by the association. It creates a tremendous recreation area. There was also realignment to create more buffer from the interstate, modifications to a few areas, mostly up in this area. And then also the original plan also had the bubbles. It had what we're referring to as bubbles. It's development areas that you see on the plan, and the development areas give some amount of flexibility to the developer, but still to restrict lot size, density, number of units per acre. The parameters are fairly fixed, and what he'll need to do at some point, if he's able to put together a product that he can market that meets these requirements, then he doesn't come back to zoning, but he'll have to come back through tentative, preliminary, and final on that bubble. So you're going to be looking at it again as from a layout standpoint. And again, and some of that area may very well end up being green space. It may not all be lots in order to develop some of the thoroughfares and the green space that are in these adjacent areas. And all those parameters are set forth on the bubbles, and they're also set forth in the staff comments that Ms. Lambert had handed out. There's been a lot of time and effort that they have spent in working and developing the plan in order to be able to incorporate the golf course envelope into what is now more of a green and recreation-oriented community. the other thing that I thought was pretty interesting is if you look at the old plan, the roadway structure came in, it came in at least on this side, over on the, what would be the east side, and it basically dead-ended up at the top, and Mr. Kaplinger came in and created a much better circulation. I mean, it's just a much better plan, it's a more modern plan, and as a result of that and these changes, we're required to come back before you, take a look, and obtain an approval of what is the new plan. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Burris. Does anyone in the audience wish to speak against this? Or for, either way, yeah. Okay, I will close the floor to the public. Thank you, Mr. Burris, and I'll bring it back to the commission. Ms. Casabon.
Yes, this has been a long-suffering development that they have really, I think, come up with a beautiful plan, because it's been a shame it's just been sitting there, and I love the idea of all this land under conservation, and the staff has no problem with it, that I think this will really work this time. I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Mr. Matthews.
Just one question, Mr. Burris. It appears that since you've redesigned the road, but there's still one way in and one way out, is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
It looks like over here on the side that maybe you have a construction access. Is there any chance of making that an additional access
Is that, where would that be?
on the,
Says 2CC Road down there at the bottom. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah,
It's over on the left side, Wayne.
I see where you're talking about, right here.
yeah, that's what I'm
I see
talking
where
about.
you're looking at.
I just hate to see subdivisions designed with a single way in and a single way out. If something happens on that Beatico Boulevard, gets flooded or whatever, then these hundreds of lots are pretty much trapped either in it or out of it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, if that goes through a neighborhood area.
I have
yeah.
no idea myself, but it just, single access design is something I think that the planning staff tends
with-
to frown on, and
I'd be-
I personally do.
Yeah, I'd happy to work with, planning staff. We'd have to explore, what is the capacity of that road. That's an issue that I just hadn't looked at.
Well, it looks like it's construction access, so it must be
Yeah,
a road that you can use.
Right.
If you can put your trucks and stuff through there.
well, I know one concept that we have used in the past would be to, and this is an area that has not yet been developed, but as we go forward, what we could do is look at that as an emergency access. I know in some of the other projects, I'd have to explore to see, what the nature of that road is, and if we can make a connection. I don't think that would be an objection. We'd be glad to look into that.
Helen, is this something we would get another chance to look at, for them to have if we approve this tonight, do they still have to come back through planning, and we could have another chance to look at them putting a second access in there?
You'll see it at planning level. You'll see it at the planning level, planning commission.
Okay.
Chad Humbrecker is someone that lives in the subdivision, and he says that Mr. Waltermath intends to keep that as an emergency access. It's just not, the project is not there yet, and it's probably, it could be 2 or 3 years off, but I don't think that would be a problem in order for us to explore that and create it as emergency access.
Because, the plat doesn't show it as
Right.
some type of exit. It just shows it as a construction.
Right.
And after the construction, it looks like it would be closed, and I would think that would be somewhat dangerous.
Okay. It's not currently being used for construction, but the intention is to use it for construction, and I would think we'd be able to develop that as emergency access.
Okay. With that in mind, I'd vote to approve it myself.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve. Mr. Davis?
Helen, one question. Will they have to come up with a revised traffic impact analysis?
No, it's the
At
same
all?
amount of lot.
it may be necessary at
Okay.
the planning level.
I just
Did you
want,
explore this issue
I know I'm
with-
getting ahead of myself, but I'm just saying,
Did you, Mr. Burris, did you explore this issue with Ms. Lala?
I didn't, I thought it was the same amount.
I haven't spoken with her lately about, about the, approval, but there was originally a traffic impact analysis done on the project.
So
There's
it was the
one in
same amount of
place, and
lots,
we're still
right?
developing, right.
Yeah,
and it was
so-
for,
Right, nothing's really changed from the
okay,
original,
so it's all about the same as the
right, it's all the
handbook. Okay.
same as
I just
originally
I just want
proposed
to make
and
sure.
studied, yeah.
Mr. Randolph.
Yes, I was looking at your green space analysis and the breakdown between Corps of Engineers, golf course, and the total of recreation for green space. I'm coming up with 1,128 acres. Is that wrong?
No, the core green space is about 377 acres.
Okay,
And then the golf course envelope was about
187.
187, yeah.
The 564 acre total is inclusive of both those numbers.
Right.
okay, okay. All right, that'll work. Thank you.
Mr. Lauren?
Wayne, you pointed out earlier that this project has gone through 4 or 5 resurrections.
Two,
Under the current plan,
right.
is this a gated community, or will it be a gated community with private streets, or will this be parish streets?
No, the streets are dedicated.
So they'd be parish streets.
Right.
They have people living there now, which
Right.
we dedicated
They're
it. It's
they're
just,
residents out
it's
there
just
now.
a handful there, yeah.
Okay, but long-term, it's gonna be an open gated community.
It's private. Chad's telling me the streets are private out there then, so it will be a gated community.
That's what I wanted to clarify. It is.
Yeah,
That was
It's
my
gated- it's
understanding
gated now.
before.
right.
So all of the street improvement work will be done at the expense of the developer.
Correct.
Okay.
And the maintenance would go
Yeah,
back to the homeowners association? The maintenance would go back to the homeowners
Yeah,
association?
the maintenance is by the homeowners
Okay.
association.
All right. Any further questions, discussion? Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Item 5, zoning case 13-02-004, an ordinance to amend the St. Tammany Parish UDC Volume 1 zoning, Section 2, relative to defining various terms for laundries, and Section 5.02, I-1 Light Industrial District, relative to adding industrial laundry as a permitted use. Staff?
This is a text change to allow industrial laundry under I-1 industrial. And we also clarify some of the definitions here, and staff would like to recommend approval.
Okay, thank you. Anyone in the audience wish to speak on this? I'll close the floor to the public and bring it back to the commission. Mr. Mackey?
I've read this.
Sounds all right to
Yeah.
me. Were you Mackey?
Thought he said Matthews. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve, seconded by Mr. Matthews. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, zoning case 13-02-005. Existing zoning is HC2 Highway Commercial District. Proposed zoning is I-1 Industrial District. It's 1.54 acres. The petitioner is William Steele. The owner is William and Heidi Steele. Location is partial located on the east side of Pontchartrain Drive, south of Eden Isles Boulevard, being 4632 Pontchartrain Drive, Ward 9, District 13. Staff?
The 2025 future land use future land use plan calls for the site to be developed with commercial uses. There are 2 existing office warehouse buildings on the site. The zoning change is being requested in order to allow for an auto body shop to be operated on the site. Excuse me. Staff feels that there's no compelling reason to recommend approval of the request, considering that the site is surrounded by single and multifamily residential uses, and there is no other industrial zoning close in close proximity. Staff recommends denial.
Thank you. Are the Steels present? Would you like to come up and speak? And I'll ask you to fill out a speaker card also after you. Tell us a little bit about what you're anticipating.
I bought the property.
State your name and
My
address.
name is William Steele. I bought the property, 4632 Pontchartrain Drive, approximately 2 years ago. I'm in the process of buying, and it's financed. We did put an auto body shop there. I misread the zoning because it said auto repair. I understood it was the same thing. There are several businesses around the area. We do try to comply and be courteous to the neighbors, although I'm sure there would, be others that disagree, just depending on who you talk to. I don't understand this total process, so if it's denied, what do I need to do from the board to continue this to kind of prove my case?
Let's let the commission take a position on it, and if it is denied, there's some appeal cards over here to my right on the end of it.
Yes,
You'll
sir.
complete that, turn it into staff, and then it will go to the parish council to review, and they could override, they could concur
Yes, sir.
with this commission, so.
Okay.
So you've operated a body shop there.
Well, we set it up. It's quite a while to set up. I set it up myself. I'm on the premises. Actually, run an office next door in the first building. The reason I bought it is my construction company's run out of there, just office personnel. With that being said, I was just trying to, how would you say, get the best of my property, get the most out of my property, and went into another business venture and set it up to be a body shop, not knowing the zone. And I understand ignorance is not an excuse, but that's what I'm pleading at the moment. So, what do you guys need from me from here?
Well, you've said basically what what you plan to do, what's there now. So the business has operated?
Yes, we actually started operating this past year, and then we got notice
About when?
that, I tell you, I'm not there all the time. I'd be lying to you if I gave you a date. I can go back and pull it.
Just approximate. 6 months ago, 3 months ago?
Roughly, yeah, about 3 to 6 months ago. I would say
Okay,
it's been over 3 months or so.
and this is your business?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I'll see if anyone else in the audience would like to speak on this, either for or against, and then we'll bring it back to the commission,
Thank you very much.
okay? Does anyone wish to speak against this?
Yes, sir, I would.
You can speak for it? Okay.
My name's William Taylor. I'm the manager over there. We are all complied with the fire marshal and all. The spray booth is a fire suppressor spray booth. We're all up to code. We have recycling for all the paint. It's low VOCs. And like I said, we all up to code with the business.
Okay,
Thank
thank you. There was no one indicate in opposition to this, so I'm gonna close the floor to the public and bring it back to the commission. Mr. Matthews.
I'm just concerned that this is, the auto body shop, it may be one of the less intensive I-1 uses. It is the other I-1 uses that are really most egregious. And now, assuming the council will pass this new amendment to the ordinance, commercial laundries will be permitted in I-1. This really just appears to be too intense for this area.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Casabon?
Yeah, you said there's warehouses, staff, what are in the warehouses around this?
So there are 2 warehouses on the property, but on the north and the south side, you have multifamily apartments. And then
I see that.
in the rear, You know, on the east and west side, you have single-family residences.
So they're just storage warehouses, or
Well,
is there
as-
businesses out of them? And
As he stated, he's operating a business, his construction business out of one, and
Okay.
from what he stated, the other one would be to operate his body
and this
shop.
was the only zoning in which would allow for his auto body shop?
That's the only zoning that allows body shop, I-1.
How was there a complaint that sent staff out, or?
Yes.
There was a complaint?
Yes.
On the noise or whatever. And it's zoned now as a highway commercial?
Correct.
No comments.
Okay.
Mr. Hines.
Mr. Davis.
Yeah, the gentleman that came up first, Mr. Steele. Your construction company that you originally had up there, that does meet the requirements for highway commercial too. Is that correct, staff?
Just an
And so this is where you're having a little difficulty here. You know, you try to get into something that really isn't allowed in highway commercial too. I travel this area almost every day, and I understand all those areas that do have highway commercial too. I am concerned about the individuals, you know, living around you and stuff like this. I'm gonna have to agree with this gentleman and make a motion to deny.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to deny. Mark?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, let me ask the staff a question. Is the property to the left, or let's say to the south and the north, is residential, you said?
Yes, it's multifamily to the north and it's multifamily to the south. What I was asking the gentleman here, the owner, is that he's planning on only using one building. And it's the one that is to the north, which has the biggest buffer between the A6 and.
So
and-
there
and
is,
the-
there is a buffer.
There's a small buffer, but it's still, it's not a green buffer. It's a parking lot.
Okay.
But maybe it's a possibility if maybe the commission would entertain to rezone only a portion of the property. This is a 1.54 acre parcel. So I don't know if this is a possibility or if the property owner would like to entertain.
That section, how much you were looking at. What size is your building on that property? That has
The building as the body shop is approximately 5,000 square foot. The other one is about the same. The one, and again, I don't have what you're looking at. But if I'm standing in front of the property, building to the right, which I originally bought the property for, is my construction company. That's 3,600 square foot of office space inside of what you are calling the warehouse. It's a metal building with a stucco front. The building next to it, which was empty, I had went to set that up as a body shop, so I had both businesses in one site, and my construction business is off-site. It's not on this site. This is for office personnel only. So there's no ongoing construction, so to say, there.
The minimum lot size under I-1 is 20,000 square feet, and the minimum lot width is 80 feet. I can show you a copy of the aerial if you want to see which building we're referring to.
You know, but my problem with this is, or actually, I don't have a problem with it if you don't know the truth about it. But the fact is, the building's there.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna use it for something.
Yes, sir. I just was trying to get the
Okay.
most out of the property because I bought the property.
And I don't see the problem with a body shop, which prior to, the rezoning of some of that property in there came under HC2 to start with. Body shops used to was what we used to call C2 or HC2.
Well, like I said, ignorance doesn't
And
excuse me. I
I
understand.
don't know when it was
looked at
changed, but that's neither here nor there, but, I mean, the building's gonna remain, you're gonna put something there, okay? And an enclosed body shop, I don't see that would be any more of a problem than anything else. As long as it's within the building and not outside the building. And you don't have any room outside because you don't have enough land to do it, right?
Oh, sir, we're not,
Okay.
we're not storing collisions. We're not doing anything like that. We're just.
I really don't have a problem with it myself.
Okay. Mr. Lauren, you had your light on a minute ago, turn.
No, my question was answered.
Okay. Mr. Davis?
One more comment. Again, this is zoning, so I do have a problem of making something I-1 where anything else in I-1 can go there. It's not a point of, you're just trying to allow something that you thought was in C2, and he continued to do it in I-1 now, and that was my concern.
Okay, Mr. Richard.
Actually, that was my comment, so I won't be repetitive.
Could I get a list of what other items are in I-1, what could be put in there? And I know that property's limited because of size, you know, the building and property size, so.
You can have a radio, television, broadcasting station, the auto body shop, outdoor storage, a welding shop, a recreational facility, an office warehouse, portable storage containers, and outdoor display for buildings and pools and playgrounds equipment.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to send to the council a recommendation to deny this. Correct. Okay, so a vote for will support the denial. Please vote. We have 7 yeas and 2 nays. So the motion to deny carries, okay? Need to, if you want to appeal it, get an appeal card over from the end of the thing there, end of the railing, and fill it out and turn it into staff.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item 7 is zoning case 13-02-006. Existing zoning is A5, two-family residential. Proposed zoning is PF1 Public Facilities District. It's .3535 acres. The petitioner is Chris Kaufman. The owner is St. Tammany Fire District 1. The parcel located on the south side of Steel Road, east of Military Road, being 297 Steel Road, Ward 8, District 9. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plan calls for the area to be developed with residential uses. There is an existing fire station located on the site. The request appears to be an attempt to bring the existing facility into compliance, and staff supports the request and recommends approval.
Thank you. Mr. Kaufman? Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I happen to live in the area, and I know that fire station before it burned, it's been there for probably 30 years.
32 years.
32 years, okay. So this is like staff said, just to bring this into compliance with the zoning request. If any of you have any questions for Mr. Kaufman, please feel free to ask. Do you have anything to add to staff's comment?
Just the fact that we were not aware that it was zoned residential until we had the building fire, and of course the damage was extensive and the building was torn down. Obviously we're working on replacement for a new facility at that site, and aesthetically we're trying to make it fit within the neighborhood, but of course we have to go through the rezoning process to continue our bid process for the new facility.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone here wish to speak against this? I'll close the floor to the public and bring it back to the commission. Mr. Hines.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to be approved.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Thank you, Mr. Kaufman.
Thank you. You gotta clear my machine. Mine's still on.
Okay, yeah, let it clear. Yeah, please revote. Vote. We did, but we hit. All right. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8, zoning case 13-02-007, existing zoning is A2 Suburban District, proposed zoning is HC2 Highway Commercial District. It's 1.84 acres. Petitioner is Jeff Shane. The owner is Joy D. Hobart. Parcel located on the west side of Louisiana 1083, north of Louisiana 21, Ward 10, District 2. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plan calls for conservation in the area. There's an existing 3,000 square foot office located on the site, which was originally approved by conditional use permit CP 9907062 under the rural zoning district. The zoning change is being requested in order to allow for the existing facility to be used for a commercial building. Staff does not have any objections to the request. Note that the parcel just to the north of the subject site and the parcel located at the intersection of Highway 1083 and Highway 21 were recently rezoned to HC2. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Mr. Shane?
Thank you, Mr. Doherty. Jeff Shane of Jones Fussell. I represent the petitioner and the landowner, Ms. Joy Hobart. I think the staff report and recommendation speaks for itself. Simply stated, when I brought this case before you, and some of you probably remember it, 4 to 6 months ago, we had requested various parcels to be zoned HC2. After appeal, the council agreed to zone certain parcels within the tract HC2. It, I think, was everyone's hope and intent that the existing building, and that's really what prompted the zoning request initially, would be in fact zoned to HC2. When the survey was plotted by your mapping department, they did a good job and determined that the parcel that had been zoned, in fact, did not include the building. So we went back to the drawing board, got with the councilman to make sure that no one would have a problem with the building being included with this parcel that was zoned HC2. I think it's very obvious it was by oversight. I also think we should be encouraged that none of the residents that had problems before are here tonight, because I think they certainly knew that this building needed commercial zoning in order to go back into service, for there to be a certificate of occupancy. So we would ask that you make a recommendation that the zoning be changed from A2 to HC2.
Thank you, Mr. Shane. Anyone in the audience wish to speak against this? I'll close the floor to the public, bring it back to the commission. Mr. Wooley.
It's fine to be rezoned. I moved for approval.
Second.
We have
Second.
a motion and a second to approve. Please vote. Bill? Yeah, you vote. Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Item 9, zoning case 13-02-008. Existing zoning is NC4 Neighborhood Institutional District. Proposed zoning is HC2 Highway Commercial District. It's 1.01 acres. This comes to us by Parish Council motion on 12-6. Parcel located on the north side of Louisiana 1088 east of Viola Street, Ward 4, District 5. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plan calls for this area to be developed with residential uses. The site was originally zoned C2 Highway Commercial, was actually rezoned to C2 Highway Commercial in 1986, and further rezoned to NC4 Neighborhood Institutional District through the comprehensive rezoning in 2009. Staff feel that the NC4 is an appropriate zoning classification for the site. It does not support the request for HC2, considering that the site is in close proximity to some existing residential subdivisions and residential developments, and staff would like to recommend denial of the request to HC2.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience want to represent the owner? The owner here? Please state your name and address.
Robert Boland. I live in Old Landing, Covington.
Okay.
I bought that property some 15 odd years ago when it was HC2. I bought it in good faith, did a lot of work to it, and just like it put back to what it was.
Okay, so you weren't aware of the comprehensive rezoning?
I was at the time, just didn't have the ability or time to to deal with it at the time. It was, I did speak to a few people about it, but I just like it trains back to what it is. That's what I bought it for. That's the investment I made in it, and I just like to get it changed back.
Okay, all right. We do have a couple of folks in the audience that wish to speak against. Will those folks please come forward? Please state your name.
Richard Rault, Quail Creek Subdivision. The reason I like to speak against this is, although I understand the investment that was made back when this property was in 1986, there were no real subdivisions along that area. Since then, a lot of subdivisions have been built. I feel that this, the potential of what could be put on that land could be detrimental to the subdivisions in the area, especially since the opening of Lakeshore High School. Traffic has increased quite dramatically. Currently, DOTD is doing a traffic study on 1088, and personally, I would like to ask that any zoning changes or planning commission recommendations for the area be put on hold until DOTD releases the findings of the traffic study, which is scheduled for October 2013. Granted, we are talking about DOTD, so that could be give or take 5 years, but all that being said, there is appropriate zoning for HC2 in this area of the parish. I affectionately call it Highway 59, not Highway 1088. There's one other parcel on 1088 that is HC2 currently. It's a storage facility. It's already been built. I'm not sure what, from what I understand, the property's for sale. I understand he could probably get a much higher price for his property, selling with that higher designation. However, one of the things DOTD is discussing that we have talked to them about at our subdivision is to put a roundabout in that area. If they do, I'm sure there would be eminent domain issues to seize property to put that roundabout in, if that's the direction DOTD chooses to go. I have no problems with in the future, once DOTD releases their findings and their recommendations, to change it to whatever would be most beneficial for the owner and for those of us living along the area. I would hope that DOTD would recognize that, 1088 should probably be a 3-lane with a center turning lane or other turning lanes or any other kind of options that they can do to turn 1088 into a parcel of highway that recognizes the incredible amount of growth that has taken place there since they opened up the I-12 interchange. However, until DOTD releases their findings, I would ask that nothing be done to this property until they can reach something that will adequately handle the increase in traffic plus whatever is going to happen with roundabout or other. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you. Carlo Hernandez, 2818 Mesa Court, Mandeville. I live in the Forest Brook subdivision, and I am on the board of directors of the Forest Brook Homeowners Association, which represents 433 homes in the subdivision. Access to Forest Brook is from LA, Louisiana Highway 1088, and which is a little over 1/2 mile from this site. The board of directors of the Forest Brook Homeowners Association opposes this zoning request change. I have attended all of the meetings dealing with the comprehensive rezoning. As you may recall, those of you who were here in July of 2008, the zoning commission recommended to the city council that this area be zoned exactly as it is today. And the 9 months later, on April the 2nd of 2009, the city council approved this exact zoning for this parcel. If you're looking at the pictures that I handed out, I believe the first picture represents this is a 1.01 acre vacant lot. It shows the second picture shows actually it says for lease now. I mean, for a number of years, those of us who live in the area, and I know some of you are very familiar with this, it's been for sale for a number of years, this particular lot. The the third and fourth pictures are the adjacent parcels, which also are zoned the exact same. One has a house on it. The next one is, that operates usually only during the summer, with a snowball stand. So, and it's got, as you can see, some things on it also. So, I mean, these are the parcels that, but the one parcel, and these are not, you know, the other two are not being, or requesting this increase in zoning as this particular one is. So, hopefully, I am requesting that you consider, just as the staff has recommended to you, denial of this request. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Alt, you have 5 minutes to rebut anything that was said.
The only thing I have to say is that I bought the property in good faith with it zoned HC2. That's why I bought it back 15 some odd years ago, and I'd just like to be put back like it was.
Okay. Thank you. Did anyone else wish to speak in rebuttal? I'll close the floor to the public and bring it back to the commission. Mr. Matthews.
I live, the entrance to my subdivision is even closer than Carlo's. This piece of property is right in the middle of all residential. There is a piece of property catty corner across the street that is zoned NC1. That's a electrical substation. So there's nothing really in this area that is zoned even neighborhood commercial except this small area. We have Quail Creek and then several other subdivisions right close to this. Highway commercial allows everything in Highway Commercial 2 plus everything in Highway Commercial 1. And there are a lot of things in both of those that this piece of property would clearly not be appropriate for. This piece of property being neighborhood commercial is in fact exactly what this piece of property should be. The commercial that would benefit the neighborhoods. While this is a highway, the vast majority of roads in St. Tammany Parish are all state highways. So you can't say, well, it's a highway, so it should be highway commercial. The highway, or the commercial really on 1088 has been heretofore limited to the areas on either end, up by I-12 and by 59. There's very little commercial any place on 1088 except on those parcels. I would recommend that highway commercial is in fact 1 or 2, way too intense for this piece of property, and agree with the staff and recommend denial.
And I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Matthews to deny.
And I'll second it.
We have a second, and you have your light on to comment.
Yeah, I agree also with staff's evaluation that NC4 is appropriate. And to add to Mr. Matthews, HC2 also includes HC1, but all of NC. And when you get up to the high levels of NC, it does get pretty loose up there. You can do a lot. So I'm just supporting with what Mr. Matthews said, that I feel that staff's recommendation is appropriate for this area.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to comment on this? Mr. Hines?
Yes, sir. I would just like to ask one question to the staff and anybody else that wants to answer it. And none of you may not want to answer it, I don't know. But if you was put in the same situation and you spent good money for a commercial piece of property, and then somebody comes along and rezones it, and you're going to have to take a third or a quarter of maybe of what you got invested in this, okay, in order to sell it. Just how would you feel about it, okay? I have never been in favor of taking commercial property and downgrading it, okay? If it was put that way to start with for a reason, okay? And I'm sorry, but that's just the way I feel about it. I mean, Everybody's got their own feelings about things, but if it was once commercial, then it should be commercial. If it was C2, C1, or whatever. You see, back in the old days, it could have been C1, which would have conformed with what you're wanting to do here. Not necessarily, but pretty close to it. But C2, I'm sure the man paid good money for that property, and now he's gonna lose money in it. So,
Thank you. Mr. Matthews.
Just make one quick comment. That's what comprehensive rezoning is all about, looking at all the property once more.
Okay.
I'd like to respond.
Okay, I've already closed the floor. Okay.
He did ask for response.
All right. Commission, want to give the gentleman a couple of minutes to rebut?
I move to do it, yes.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Matthews. Do we have a second? Second. Please vote to allow the gentleman to speak for no more than 2 minutes.
2 minutes? 2 minutes.
Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you.
I can completely sympathize with buying something and then having the property suddenly fall out from under you. Anybody who bought a house anywhere in America back in 2004 has probably experienced that. In this case, yeah, the comprehensive rezoning does have negative effects on people who own property for years. However, when this comprehensive rezoning went through and when he bought the property, it was an entirely different highway from what it is today. All that being said, I'm not saying that I would like it to have it denied forever. However, until DOTD can release a plan that can benefit all the landowners along Highway 1088, I'm just asking that, and I would certainly welcome him to come back, but I believe that in the interest of all of us who have bought homes in the area, that all zoning and planning things that come before you should be tabled until DOTD releases their comprehensive plan. And that's what I'd like to say. So.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor to recommend to the council denial on zoning case 13-02-008. Please vote. Yes, sir.
Would you please clarify the vote?
Okay. A vote for supports the denial. A vote no supports the change. Okay? Please vote. Vote is 7-1 to deny. Thank you very much. And Mr. Rout, the appeal cards are over here to my right on the end of the railing. Clear. Let's see, item 10 was postponed. Item 11, zoning case 13-02-010, existing zoning is A3 Suburban District. Proposed zoning is A3 Suburban District and MHO Mobile Housing Overlay. It's 20,000 square feet. Parish, this comes to us by Parish Council motion of 12-6. Parcel located on the west side of Eagle Street, south of Bobby Jones Boulevard, being Lot 4, Square 47, Hillcrest Subdivision, Ward 6, District 6. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plan calls for conservation in this area. The zoning change is being requested to allow for the placement of a manufactured home on the lot, which is part of an existing subdivision. The subdivision is primarily composed of mobile homes, so staff has no objection to the request and recommends approval.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience to support this? Please come forward and state your name.
Yes, my name's Joan Sarkovich. My husband and I purchased a lot in 2007. Excuse me, I'm freezing. I can't speak. Purchased a lot in 2007 after relocating to the North Shore after Hurricane Katrina. We had every intention from the beginning to put a mobile home, manufactured home on the lot. Saved our money. Things happened. We didn't have a chance to do it, but saved enough money now, so we'd like to proceed with our plans.
Okay, thank you. Anyone in the audience wish to speak against? Please come forward, state your name. And I don't have a speaker card from you, so I'm gonna ask you after you speak to please fill out a speaker card.
Okay. My name is Jim Stansberry, and we started a homeowners association about a little over 4 years ago in Hillcrest subdivision. Back in 1970, it was designated as a subdivision, not a trailer court and not modular homes. It was for a subdivision. I bought a house, or should I say I had built a home on 4 acres, and been having my property for the last 13 years. We have a lot of homeowners back there with homes. We'd like to keep it as a subdivision. For the past 13 years that I've been back there, I've noticed a lot of trailers, modular homes. People purchased them and they left them there, and they're decayed. Over the past 4 years, I've had code enforcement come in. I had the fire department come in. There was a lot of different areas that I've touched base with, and we couldn't even find the owners of the trailers, which in turn depreciated our property value. We're looking for our property value to go up and not to go down. Every time I've ever seen a modular home or a trailer court, or should I say a trailer coming apart where homes should be, the land value was depreciated. And we've got too much money invested in our home. We like our area. We like to keep it like that. We don't have anything against anyone that saved their money. But in our respect, if you can afford and put money away for a trailer, there's some nice homes back there. There's also some repossessed homes back there. And options to buy with land still reasonable. We had Miss Rebecca Crawford, used to be our councilman. She was working with us real close. Came together and we had the entire Hillcrest subdivision on both sides blacktop. Through our organization, we pay for one light, which that's all we can afford right now, for school buses to come in and go out, which they can see where they're going. We have ditches have been dug deeper. The city has come back there and cut the grass regular. There's a lot of things that's been happening because of the homeowners association. And I'm not saying that people cannot join it. They can join our homeowners association, which is only $25 a year. And that doesn't go too far. But nevertheless, we like to keep it as a homeowners association. We like to keep it as a subdivision. And we don't want our property value to go down. So that's all what I have to say. Okay? You want me to fill this card out and leave it with you?
Give it to staff, yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Come back up. Anyone else wish to speak against this? We got one other person, and we'll go to rebuttal. Yes, ma'am, come up and you need to fill out a speaker card. Also state your name and address.
My name is Judy Thomas. I also live in the Hillcrest area in the subdivision. Now, the subdivision itself takes in the golf course and all the area around the golf course, as well as the areas from Hillcrest Boulevard, south, east, whatever. Okay. Now, I just need to clarify, if you allow this, is this parcel itself the only thing it's being rezoned, or is Hillcrest subdivision being rezoned?
No, ma'am, only 20,000 square feet.
Just one parcel.
One parcel.
It's just an
And
overlay.
why would you want to rezone one parcel in an entire subdivision?
This is an overlay.
This is an overlay.
And the request come to us from your councilman, the parish council.
Well, it was the parish council that assisted us in getting this rezoned properly back in, I think it was 2009 or 10?
The zoning's
So
not changing.
why would the council turn around now?
A3 zoning stays the same.
Your zoning stays the same.
It's just an
adds
overlay
the
to
mobile
allow
or
a
manufactured
modular
home
home.
overlay.
Okay, so when you put this overlay on there, what stipulations do you have as to what they can bring in on the property? Does it have to be a new mobile home? Can it be one that's falling apart?
Staff, I'm gonna let you answer that question.
The mobile home would have to meet the wind load requirements.
Yeah.
Which is?
Unfortunately, I don't have the map in front of me to clarify this, but
What does that mean?
That it
In
has
the
to
parish.
withstand higher winds, probably, and I'm guessing right now, it's probably somewhere between 100 and 120 mile per hour, which is basically the same as a stick-built home.
And skirting.
So,
and
apparently then, I don't understand how one piece of property in a subdivision can be different than the rest of the subdivision when it's all residential.
This still remains residential.
Still residential.
Manufactured housing is still classified as residential.
Oh, yes, I understand that. But we have, like, so basically you're telling me that I have a lot on the golf course. I can put a mobile home on that?
If you come back and request a mobile, manufactured housing overlay, yes, ma'am.
So see, that brings the entire subdivision down if you allow mobile homes around different areas in there. So I would really think that at this point, we finally got it to where it can be a more affluent area, and now we're going to try to piecemeal it back not to be. So I'm definitely against this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, rebuttal?
Yes, sir. Initially, when we moved over here, we were gonna buy a lot on the golf course. My husband and I are both members at a golf course. The stipulations for the homeowners association is that you have to build at least a 2,500 square foot under beam. It's my husband and myself. We don't need a big home like that. It's just the two of us. We're not planning on bringing a piece of trash into the area. I'm looking at a $90,000 mobile home, manufactured home, excuse me. I don't have enough money to build a house. I only have enough money that's saved to put a down payment on a mobile home. I would love to own something myself. I don't plan on bringing the neighborhood down. It's just my husband and myself. We're hard workers. And if I'm not able to put a manufactured home on the lot, I will not be able to sell it either. If someone has to build a home on the lot because the entire area is saturated with mobile homes, I will not be able to get my money back from a lot, because if I have to sell it to somebody, the zoning as it is, they're not gonna buy it. I have mobile homes on both sides of us, up and down the entire street. The Hillcrest, not the part of Hillcrest by the Abita Golf Course, but the rest of the area is 95% mobile homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, anyone else want to rebut on the against side? Yes, ma'am, come forward and state your name and address.
I'm Hannah Stansberry. I live on 75180 T Street. And, sorry, I'm very nervous. I sympathize with her as far as not having a lot of money, excuse me, to build a home, but, I mean, I did. You know, that 5%, the 95% of trailers, that's why we're here, because we did build a house. I mean, there's 8 people back there that are here because we did build homes. You know, for 18 months, we've been with a homeowners association fighting to get, you know, the trailers that are there grandfathered in. But as far as more coming in, that's the value of my property is what I'm worried about. She just said, I'm not gonna be able to sell it because, you know, the value of the property isn't gonna be worth anything. That's where I'm at. I mean, I'm 30 years old. I wanna be able to sell my house one day. That's a plan, you know, but if I have a trailer on the right, a trailer on the left, and 5 down, then, you know, I'm not gonna be able to do that. So I'm against it.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna close the floor to the public, bring it back to the council. Mr. Lorne.
The gentleman in the back, would you come up to the mic, please?
Yes, sir.
You the president of the homeowners association?
Yes, sir.
All right, within the Hillcrest subdivision, how many lots are there in that subdivision, roughly?
That's a good question. There's not just lots, there's acreage back there in Hillcrest subdivision. But if you went down Bobby Jones, I would say you got half and half houses and some trailers that's just moved in over the last few years. Towards me, to the right back there, we must have another 8 or 10 homes back there, less trailers. I would say we've got more houses than we have trailers in the area. At one time, people that I know that's been back there for between 25 and 30 years. Different places were repossessed at one time as far as the property was, but then bought again. And somehow down the line, trailers came in without people knowing it. Even the permit office has records of that because some of the trailers that were pulled in didn't even have permits. So I'm just saying, we don't want our property. I'm not trying to be ugly or anything. I'm just being straight up. I don't want to invest money that we invested on the property that I have. We built a beautiful home. We used every nickel we had. I would like to break out even if I had to sell my house. I know economy is wacky right now for a lot of people, but I still look for the future. I don't look in the back. I don't look in the past. I feel like we do have a future back there. We do have some hope back there. We do have people that may be a handful of pulling together, but I don't want to see what we do have lose it.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there because you've gone way beyond what the question was. so.
Okay.
All right.
Well.
Doug, you have anything
Well,
else?
the only, I'm kind of hearing two sides to it. The staff report says the subdivision is primarily composed of mobile homes.
If you take a drive back there, you'll see what I'm saying. A lot of people think that, they have trailers back there. I'm not gonna say they don't, but I wouldn't even call, some of them they wouldn't even call trailers. Some of them were abandoned, and a few of them were burned, and I had the fire department to come out there and eventually have them removed off the property. People left them behind. You have to live in a place to see exactly what I'm talking about, and we're back there, and we see what goes on, and through the organization, we've stopped a lot of stuff going on, okay? And I'm just saying that, I'm thankful for what I have. I want to keep it like it is, but I don't want to see it depreciate. I want to see that land value go up. And if we see any more trailers coming in, I can't stress that enough. The value of a trailer will not hold up like a house. It will never do that, even for sale. Even the real estate agents say that. So it's not something that I'm making up. It's a fact of life. I want to see our value of our home go up or be able to get the same amount of money that we've invested into it. And we invested a lot of money in my home. And a lot of family has also. So whatever we can do to hang in there and do this, we'd like to do it. But, and we'd be more than glad to help anybody because, again, to find a home for $90,000, I could find you a house back there. There are homes that are up for sale that you could get. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Hines.
Yes, sir. I'd like to ask that gentleman one more question before he leaves. Were there trailers there when you built your house?
Sir, I'm sorry.
Were there trailers there when you built your house?
Nowhere around me, sir. And
I
there's still
didn't
none.
say that. In the subdivision?
Oh, yes, they've
Okay,
had
thank
it.
you.
Yes, sir.
That's all I wanted to know.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Willie.
Okay, I'm hearing, like, say, different numbers as far as 95% mobile homes and half mobile homes, half stick homes. My question is there any other mobile, manufactured housing overlay in that area? Or are those mobile homes grandfathered in?
The mobile homes are grandfathered in.
Okay, is there any other any overlay anywhere else in that subdivision?
Not within the subdivision at this time.
Especially, I'm looking at say the two lots on each side of her, is that any overlay on those lots?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Are you sure there's not any, there was mobile home overlay in there prior to Becky Crawford when she was councilman?
There was
Having
at
it
the
changed?
time, at the time, mobile homes were allowed.
That's
And then
correct.
after the
Okay, so
comprehensive rezoning,
so that would still be a mobile home overlay if it was allowed. Is that not correct?
No,
No.
there was
Okay.
a mobile home overlay at some point. However, after the comprehensive rezoning, it was
Okay.
removed.
A lot of that was probably our rule at one time, too. Mr. Matthews?
Yeah, I just want to see if we can get an answer. Trevor, would you come back up here?
We're gonna be sure you get your exercise tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay, Puckett asked you, how many lots are in that subdivision? And I think where he was going is where I'd like to go.
Yes, sir.
You claim to represent the homeowners association. How many lots are in the subdivision? How many people are in the homeowners association? What's
I'd say
your
we
membership?
have roughly as far as between 25 and 30 people that are involved.
Okay.
Yes,
How
sir.
many, how many lots are in that subdivision?
How many lots? Well, I'll be honest with you, I really don't know.
Well over.
Well
30.
over maybe 100 of them or
Okay,
more, yes,
so,
sir.
So your homeowners association that you're speaking for represents 30% or less?
I would say, yeah, if
Okay.
yes.
Okay, and I'm looking at this aerial showing the particular plot, and everything for 3 streets around shows nothing but mobile homes.
Okay, well, I live on Hook Street, Slice Street, and Caddy Street. which
Okay,
is
how far
consisted
away
of-
is that from-
Which is consisted of about 4 acres.
Okay, how far away is that from the corner of Bobby Jones and Eagle?
I'm gonna say 6 blocks,
Okay.
6 blocks from Bobby Jones, somewhere around there.
So this whole area that we're looking at here is already composed, it looks like 100% mobile homes.
Well, I have approximately a person that's got a home across the street from me, one
Well,
down the
not-
street
not-
from me.
Not what I'm looking at. I'm saying this 3 or 4 street area here is 100% mobile homes. That's what I'm looking at.
Well, I'm just telling you, there's 2 houses across the street from me.
I understand that.
And I can't remove them,
okay,
but you can go take a look at them.
Your street isn't on here. You're 6 blocks away. This is only 3 streets,
Okay.
okay? And it looks like it's saturated with mobile homes. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Davis? Mr. Davis?
Yes, I'd like to get, for the young lady who first came up, yeah, would you please come up?
Would you like me to let it go?
Please.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I went out to the area and looked it over. I see absolutely no reason not to allow the modular home overlay on this piece of property with the modular homes in the area and such like this. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Mackey?
I'm going to make a statement in the other direction. The gentleman in the back, I missed your name.
My name is Jim Stansberry.
Yeah, that's right, Mr. Stansberry. It was very true a few years ago that the homeowners association or people living in that area saw that it was going down because of these mobile homes that were going into poor condition and things like that. They got with the council person and they showed their desire to maintain and eventually approve this subdivision. They now have stick homes being built into the area. It was going down. They took the initiative to turn this place around, is what they've done. And now we're going to go in the opposite direction. They even have a nice sign out front. They never had that before. They're showing that they're proud of the area now to where they weren't when it was just going downhill. There's no doubt about it. I go by this place every day. I know the area pretty well. And they're worried because it's going to discourage more stick-built homes going into the area. We don't have stick-built homes built in any of the townships in St. Tammany Parish. Is that correct? none of the
Do-
townships in St. Tammany Parish allow, not stick-built, I'm sorry, mobile homes.
Townships, I'm sorry, sir. what are-
Cities, incorporated areas. Not anymore, it's not allowed anymore in Slidell, to my knowledge. But anyway, if there are, they're highly discouraged. And these people, I know several of them, and they've been working for a good long time to try to improve their neighborhood. And I don't see what benefit, I'm sorry, I really am, that
But we
you're saying-
purchased our lot in 2007, and the zoning in 2007 was for mobile homes. We're proud of
Well, it
our.
wasn't zoned for that then, it was,
It
there
just
wasn't
wasn't
a blank,
zoned.
there wasn't overall.
Correct, but, we're proud of our home too, so we're not planning on bringing the
Well,
neighborhood down.
These people are proud of their homes too, and they're concerned because
I
by and large,
I
mobile
understand
homes
their-
will decrease the value of a stick-built house in the area.
Understand their concern, I
And
do,
they're-
but
And anyway, I cannot, with conscience, vote for another mobile home in there. They're definitely trying to change that neighborhood, and you can see a spark beginning to come in the improvement of the area. And I'm sorry about on your thing. There's you can probably build a house for that, and at least the house would appreciate for you.
not with the amount of money that I have to put down on the home. No, I cannot. But believe me, we've investigated every alternative, but that is our only alternative to own a home.
Okay, it was not zoned for mobile homes back then. You had to apply at that point a
Conditional use,
conditional use permit. You still had to come here. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Mackey. Mr. Davis?
Yes, I'd just like to add on to that. It's still zoned A3. And this person has a right to be able to have a dwelling, and with the new restrictions they put on modular home design, skirting, things like that, I still don't have a problem with approving this.
It's a manufactured home.
It is not a trailer. It is a modular home. That's what every mobile home is now designed, certain requirements. So I'm a little actually upset about this pompous behavior, to be honest.
Okay, we have a motion, Mr. Richard.
I have a question to staff. When we looked at the overhead, there was quite a few mobile homes, manufactured homes, whatever, on the site. I understand that they weren't there, they don't have an overlay today because they were grandfathered in, for lack of a better word. My question is, if those homes would deteriorate or the owners would decide to pull them out and wanted to replace them with another manufactured home, would they have to come back at that point in time, or is the property already grandfathered?
It's grandfathered, and they have actually 6 months to remove the mobile home and replace it with a new one.
Okay, so they can come back, so the property to her left, to her right, north, south, east, west, will always potentially be manufactured homes.
Correct, so they have the potential of replacing it within 6 months of removal of the current
So
mobile
if
home.
a stick-built home was built in that location, chances are then that every house, every habitational building around it is going to continue to be a mobile or manufactured home.
Potentially.
Thank you.
Mr. Willie?
Yeah, that's kind of my point too, because I don't know who'd be the brave person to build the first stick home in an area that's 100% mobile homes. So that would be, no, in this particular area where she's at, there's no houses in that area. Well, we just saw an aerial. Well, you're a brave person then. But just looking at it, you know, I don't, with mobile homes all around her property, I don't know who'd build a mobile home in the middle of that. I mean, a stick-built home in the middle of that, so.
Point of order.
Okay,
Can we vote?
okay. Question's been called, I'll recognize it. Please vote. This is a motion to approve, that's correct. Everybody voted yet? There's still one out. isn't there? Okay. Motion carries, 7 yeas, 1 nay. Thank you. If, those of you that are opposed to it, you have the opportunity to get, an appeal card and appeal it to the, council. Let's see, that was item 13, zoning case 00-03-020. It's a major amendment to a PUD, Plan Unit Development. It's 152.5 acres. The petitioner is WBB Realty LLC. Owner is WBB Realty LLC. The representative is Paul Marone, parcel located on the west side of Louisiana 1085, north of Louisiana 21, Ward 1, District 1. Staff?
If you want to take a look at the map that is attached to your staff report, it shows that the major amendment to the PUD consists of an addition of 5 foot a strip of land to lot 71 in order to increase the size of the side yard setback. The addition of the 5-foot strip will create a slight reduction of the green space from 47.8 acres to 47.78 acres. Staff does not have any objection to the request and would like to recommend approval.
Thank you. All right.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Wayne Burris representing the petitioner. I don't have a whole lot to add to what Helen has presented and what is contained in your package. I would point out that the strip merely affects the green space with 2/100ths of an acre and certainly does not significantly affect the percentages. We're still well within the percentages, and the request is in order to accommodate a particular size home on the lot. That's what brings me before you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone in the audience wish to speak against? Close the floor, bring it back to the commission. Mr. Matthews.
Well, reducing the green space by that much, I guess we couldn't put a baseball diamond on there now, is that correct?
No, sir.
I move to approve.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second to approve zoning case 00-03-020. Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any old business? Any new business? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Thank you.
See, this is a